Two questions. Your service line is copper,
No, it's galvanized.
galvanized pipe. So it could have just rusted.
It's
That's possible, sir, I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
but there's 7 fixes in here,
But with all the repairs,
with all the repairs and all the weight on it, but that ain't the point. The point is, your guys come out and said what they would have done was reroute the water line. Why should that be my expense to reroute it when the city hired somebody or did it themselves to set this fire hydrant and a block of boulder on top of my water line? The city should have rerouted it then, because they knew they set on it so I could get to my water line, or ever who owned the house at the time could get to the water line.
Did you call Dig Right before you?
We get called Dig Right, we marked it, they marked everything, there wasn't no utilities in the area. You know? Now, I got charged $2,000 for when the hydrant blew off. The cap blew off, and this ain't sufficient blocking, and they charged me, how much? $50-some $100, because they dug it up back to the middle of the road. And I did not touch that cap. I show you a picture on my phone where when the cap blew from the back, the pole is still in the ground, undisturbed. It slipped off from the back. And after a while of the water rolling and stuff, the pole finally slipped out. Would you like to see a picture of that?
I can visit.
What I'm trying to get at, sir, I'm not, you know, I work hard for a living. Everybody here does. You know, we're going backwards in life. I didn't have the money to spend $3,000 to $5,000 to hire a professional to do it. You know, he was going to fix the water line. My buddy digs every day for a living. That's what he does. He's an expert. You know, when he grabbed that rock, it was so far away from the hydrant, it was so long, that we thought it was this bill. We never dreamed that that's what they used for a block at the time. But back in the 70s, that might have been what they did.
Well, when Missouri Water, which used to be St. Louis County Water, do they still put concrete behind for the thrust blocks and all the angles, or do they use?
they put concrete in or
pre-strip?
reinforced concrete pads and
Pads.
solid blocks.
Either one.
Yes.
Yeah, here's their
So
specs.
you can tell that it's a thrust block.
Yes.
That's their specs.
Yeah. I've hauled a lot of concrete to St. Louis County Water and done these things all over fields, you know.
Now,
It's just horrible that you're gonna get charged for this 5,000, whatever it was, for this cap blowing off. And I mean, the thing is, it's your water main, you know, you guys can put it however blocks you wanna put in it, you're the city, you can block however you want. But if you don't do it correctly and it blows off, it's really hard for me to see him getting charged for the bill. Do you understand what I'm getting?
Is it safe to say that if the job was done correctly, that it might not have happened?
Absolutely not, it would have happened. But then the thing is, the service line's in the way. So for them to put the block in, they would have had to pick a service line
Or
up.
both of those lines marked?
The service line? I wasn't there for the local,
No.
so I don't know.
they only, Dig Right only marks for utilities. To say there's no utilities in the area for me to dig. We already dug this line up once downstream, just down from there. We didn't hit the rock pin and fixed it. And it was leaking right up by the meter this time. So we decided we was gonna fix from the meter all the way to our fix that we knew was right and wouldn't have a problem again. You know, and then when we got in there, we seen it's been fixed like 8 times, 7, 8 times. You can see on the pipe was laying out. One place they had a clamp and rubber around it and cranked it down. There's no way that was ever gonna work there. But that ain't where it was leaking. It was leaking up by the meter. This time, so what I don't understand, for one, the meter's on my neighbor's property, 15 foot up the road. Why didn't they put it right at the corner of the driveway of the home that it belonged on, right down the driveway in the first place?
That's why they ran it down the right of way, was because they couldn't go into the property because he doesn't own that property. So the meter was set up in front of someone else's property. He only owns like, I believe, about 2 feet on each side of your driveway.
3 feet. 3
3
feet.
feet.
Yeah.
And then the meter is about 8 feet up the road, maybe 9. And then it 90s down and it goes right down the right of way. Because it's the only way you can get there. Then it goes down to the driveway.
The whole thing is, they could have,
Excuse me just
go
a
ahead.
minute. Mr. Ivy, did you get a call from Big Right to do a
We
locate
did,
on that?
yep.
And you did the
Yeah, we only locate to the meter because we don't maintain the service beyond the meter to the house. We don't locate that.
Did you locate the hydrant pipe?
Yeah, Chris did, yep.
Okay.
Oh, can I ask you an honest question? Do you feel this is proper blocking?
Feel like it lasted for 4 days until whatever you were out there doing the night that
The
it
only
came
thing
off.
we did was what you asked us to do, move the hydrant out of the hole so he could come fix it the next day. That's all we did. Move the hydrant out of the hole. That's all we did. But you notice the hydrant's laying on the line way up here, holding the line down. Once that hydrant was moved, there was no pressure on the line no more. So it popped off from the back, not the front. I can show you the picture. Would an engineer pass this as proper blocking? Jason?
Probably not on a new water line install, no. But as a temporary fix, that's what we would have
I mean,
done.
that's the thing is, it's fine, you can temporary fix however you want, but now your temporary fix, however you want to do it, you're charging him because it didn't hold. It only held for 3 days. You can put in kind of really poor whatever, get it to hold for a little bit, but eventually it's gonna go. And that's just where I'm looking at his situation, is that if it would have been done correctly, in my opinion, correctly, it would have held in there, and then he could have been able to do his work and get through, and then you guys can do your work and finish up and reinstalling the fire hydrant.
Now, a lot of these charges were also overtime, because what time were you digging?
Friday night we dug, I called the water department about 9:10.
Friday night?
Yes.
Which is after hours.
Yes. Yeah, I know. We all work for a living.
Right, we all do.
Right.
And so do our guys.
Right, I realize
And
that.
that's
I realize
overtime.
that, but what I'm-
The second time you dug, what time was it?
We never dug a second time.
When did the cap blow?
That was 3 days later. We didn't dig it off. They were there. Why didn't they remove the fire hydrant? They asked us to remove it. So my buddy stopped by that night, lifted the fire hydrant out of the hole, and set it right where they asked us to set it by the telephone pole. Loaded his stuff back up and left. Shortly after that, my daughter's outside, sitting on the porch, talking to you, I
She
believe,
was talking to me because
and water come running down the driveway. I was in the house watching the All-Star game when it happened. You know, bottom line is, if the city would have did the right thing 50 years ago and rerouted the water line for the homeowner, instead of setting a boulder on a homeowner's water line without them knowing it and creating those problems over the years, we wouldn't be here talking about this today, because the water line would have been 2-3 foot behind the fire hydrant. We could have dug and not touched that boulder, wouldn't have known if it was used for a block or anything.
Mr. If I get it, mine's 13 feet under on the other side of the road, and my understanding is there's concrete all around and underneath it. And I get it, I'm strapped for money as well.
Oh, totally
But
understand, Lizzie.
there's a lot of circumstances here. You know, I'm glad you're coming to us and talking about it. And even though we have the paperwork in front of us, I don't think all of us fully understand exactly what happened there. But we have to do things the right way as well. And that is part of the issue here.
I'm not, part of the issue is you didn't do it the right way when he blocked the cap. There's no ifs and buts about that. There's no engineer would ever sign off on this. You know, I'm not trying to get aggravated here, but I am. The second thing is it my responsibility to reroute my water line because the city set a boulder on it? I don't think any court in land would agree that you guys set a boulder on my water line. My water line was there first. You could have put the fire hydrant 15 foot up the road in between 2 water meters and there'd never be a problem. But instead you decided to set right here, down below my meter, which my water line runs through there, which they had to see because the water meter's up here. It's got to run downhill to my house. So they had to know the water line was there somewhere. They had to dig, see where it was at. They were already in the process of doing it. So they just went ahead and set the fire hydrant, put a boulder on it, covered it up, and got out of there. Didn't tell the homeowner, hey, we just set a boulder on your water line. Don't you think it would have been the proper thing for the city to do?
I can't answer that question. I wasn't here 30, 50 years ago.
agree, if it happened today, would you think that would be the proper thing for the city to do? If they set on somebody's water line, to let you either let them know you set on the water line, or reroute the water line for the,
Well, I can't say our crews would do something like that right now.
Jason, did I tell you I'm not blaming you? I know it wasn't you, I know it wasn't you. You probably hired a contractor to put your hot fire hydrants in, and they just went in, put them in, and got out. You guys probably had no idea they did that, but it's still, you hired them to do it. And they set on my water line that was there way before your fire hydrant. The house was built in 41. Fire hydrant was put in 75 or 6, you said?
I have no idea what.
That's what you told me when we was talking on the phone.
I don't remember ever saying that because I
Yes,
didn't
sir.
know that.
I'd take a polygraph test of that.
Okay, well, you can, but I can
Yeah.
take a polygraph test to it too.
Okay. All I'm getting at, I don't feel I should be responsible for none of it. I don't, and I'm not. You know, that's why I'm here, because I'm not trying to be a harsh substitute. I work hard for my money. My daughter's mother died. She got $15,000. She won the house. She used that $15,000 on that house. I borrowed the rest and paid it off, so she could have something someday when I'm gone, because I'm all she's got. And I'm not going to lose it because of some shoddy work that people did 50 years ago. I'm prepared to go the whole 9 yards with this. You know, because I just think if we went to court over this, Attorney Boss, if we went to court over this, you think the court would file in your favor?
Well, I'm not gonna give a legal opinion. I'd give it to the board in executive session what my opinion might be.
I'm just saying.
I just have a question, and
Okay.
when somebody got the excavation permit
Yeah.
for you to dig the first time,
Yeah.
did somebody in the city told you that the building inspector had to be there?
No, sir. No, I've dug it twice, no time. And they knew I was digging it myself. When the water department come out and shut my water off, they knew I was digging it up myself. That's the second time I've dug it. Nobody ever told us we had to have the city inspector there. No, sir. Absolutely not. If they told you that, that's a lie.
I think she's got something to say.
I'm just raising my arms, it hurts.
Okay. I'm sorry.
But everyone knew that he was gonna go out and do it when he got the permit to go do the work. So somebody had to know he was getting it done.
And nobody told you to not dig after hours.
No, they didn't tell us what the hours was. It doesn't say on the paperwork. I don't believe I got paperwork. That's paperwork in the truck. It doesn't say on the paperwork what time to dig. But it was, we started digging before dark. We quit digging, we was digging by hand the last 45 minutes to hour because we didn't want to get close to it with a bucket. And we was digging by hand. And we found the water line upstream by the meter and was working our way down when the hydrant blew off. That was around 9 o'clock. It was not quite dark yet.
You're talking about the second day.
No, the first day. Now, we were there till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because, you know, it happened. I felt obligated to stick with these guys and to do whatever. You know, I sat there while they went and turned all the water mains back on, and I had their phone number in case the cap would happen to leak. You know, they could shut them back off right away. I didn't leave them until they were done. You know, I did feel that obligation. But I'm just here, you know, I've showed him this from the beginning, and he's done this for 20-some years. And this, being charged for that is definitely wrong. And the second part is, the city should have done the right thing in the first place. It would have cost them, what, a few $100s to reroute the water line for the homeowner, and we'd never be here having this discussion today. But instead, they decided to set a 2,000-pound boulder on the homeowner's water line. That's not right. No way, shape, or form can any one of you sit here and say that's right. You wouldn't want that done to your water line. So.
I came to get that the man in the red shirt was here and signed it.
Did you tell my daughter you needed to be there?
I did tell your daughter that you could not do that excavation work over the weekend.
We didn't do it on weekend, we did it on Friday
That it needed to
night.
be done between the hours of 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday, because our public works people were on duty if something happened.
Well, when they come shut
That's what
my,
I told them.
they come shut my water off, I told them when I was gonna dig it, and not one of the waterworks guys said a word to me.
But I told
Why
your
wouldn't
daughter.
that be, why wouldn't that be in there? Why wouldn't that be on there?
I'm just gonna read what's here. Inspections are required, no exceptions, exclamation point, all permits require a final inspection. Please contact telephone number to schedule your required inspections. Must call and schedule an inspection appointment a minimum of 24 hours in advance.
You gotta get it inspected after you fix it.
This is on an excavation permit. Mayor, I would just recommend, if any alderman have any questions for this gentleman, or if he's got anything further that he wants to do, certainly discuss them, but he has, I think, threatened the city with litigation, so it gives us a right to discuss this matter in executive session.
I didn't threaten you with litigation, I said I'm willing to take it as far as it goes, sir.
Well, I think that's good enough for me to say that
Well,
it's
you
just.
you take it how you want to. I feel that, so what you're saying is, because I said that, it's all right that you did a homeowner 50 years ago wrong, and they did me wrong here.
Time out, that's not what I said. I said this board needs to have a discussion of what they're gonna do. They may agree with everything you said, they may agree with nothing that you said, or they may agree with something in the middle, and I get to give them my legal opinion, but I get to give them my legal opinion in executive session, because you have made a threat of litigation. That's not saying, I may not agree with you, I may agree with everything you said, you don't know what I'm gonna say, but whenever you hire a lawyer, there's a thing called attorney-client privilege, and I get to talk to my client now that you threatened litigation in executive session. I'm gonna talk to them in executive session, or recommend they go into it. They may say they don't wanna go into executive session, but I'm recommending that we discuss it. Don't take that as I've made up my mind, just take it as that's.
I'm sorry, you know, like I said, I'm not holding nobody at fault. I did it because I was strapped for cash. You know, it takes every dime to put gas in your vehicle, to go to work every day, put food on your family for your tables. You know, there's no vacations or nothing like that right now for people. You know, we're just struggling to get by.
Can I ask you a question? If you don't want to answer, that's fine.
I'll answer.
Do you feel like you're responsible for any of this? That there's some number, I mean, there's, just asking, you know, I don't know if they told you you had to have, you know, I know there must be a disagreement on whether they was told you it need to happen during working hours.
No,
That would certainly deal with overtime issues. It's not saying it still wouldn't have broken.
Right.
During the day, but it might not be overtime or calling guys in, you know, at 10 o'clock on a Friday night when it's an overtime bill and a call-out fee to the city if it would have happened during working hours.
I know.
So any part of it.
I'm also friends with Nathan Hall that runs Union City Water Department. Anytime if there's any digging around the fire hydrant, they assist in the digging for nothing, to make sure nothing's done. I mean, they knew where I was digging and what I was up against. I mean, they could have said, hey, at least told me that it could be a rock, it could be blocks, it could be concrete. You know, I'd have never dreamed it was a boulder that stuck out 3 foot past the fire hydrant. We thought it was just stuck in there for fill, because there was other big rocks on back part. You know, so we just thought it was in there for fill, honestly.
I have,
Did I screw up?
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, because I'm a little bit confused. So you're saying that everybody was aware that you were going to be digging after hours?
Yeah,
That
I
Friday
told them we were
night
gonna
they
dig,
knew
I told
you
these
were
guys,
going
I
to
told
dig.
the guys when they turned my water off that we're gonna dig it up on Friday evening when my buddy got off work.
And then,
We started about, I'd say about 6:30.
And what time was it that you told them that you were going to be digging? When you said they shut the water off, what time was that?
They shut it off the day before, and I told them we were gonna dig it up the next day. And they just told me to call them back when I got it repaired.
The next
That's
day?
right.
But did you say the next day in the evening?
Yeah, I
Did you
told them
specify?
when, because when we got off work, that we were gonna dig Friday evening. Yes, I did, ma'am. I mean, it was never mentioned to us that we had to dig between